Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lisa and I'm also known as Job Coach Germany. I'm very, very happy that you're here and welcome back to this week's career coaching drop-in session. It's already episode number 40. And yeah, I'm back from a holiday. I was on holiday because I celebrated my birthday, and now I'm back refreshed and full of energy for you guys. And today's topic is all about how to deal with rejections. And Mojo's here. Hi, Mojo. And Gunchu's here. Hi, Gunchu. Okay, so somehow I can't wave to everybody, but I'm waving in that way. So let me know in the comments how you normally deal with rejections. This is actually a really, really hard topic because it feels personal, right? Thank you very much for waving back at me. I'm really, really happy that you guys are here, that you are supporting me here. And yeah, I'm just really, really happy, and I appreciate that I can be back today and talk to you about career advice. And so why does rejection feel so bad? Well, let me tell you, it's kind of like, it's been proven that it feels like a physical pain. And there are, when you are in grief, there are 4 different parts that you're going through. Yeah, so first of all, you are probably negating what is happening, and you just don't want to know, or you just don't want to admit that it's true. And then after that, we're going further down, because that's when the anger starts. And then we have the tipping point at the bottom, when we have the acceptance of the situation, what has happened. And then you're starting to feel better again. The last phase basically is all about letting go and having a new start, having a fresh start. And basically, there are obviously several reasons why you have received this rejection. And there are different phases within the job application journey when you can receive a rejection. And first of all, let me tell you, it's great that you have received a rejection, because from my experience, it has taken quite some time. When I was still working in corporate, I would send the rejections for applications way later than actually that was proposed. So basically, you as an applicant would send the application to the company. I would screen it, and I would already know right away who gets into the next phase in the application process and who doesn't. And January is here. Hi, January. So by that point, I would have been able to already send the rejection letters to the first couple of applicants, right? But I wouldn't do that. I would first collect all of the applications that I would receive for this particular open position in the company, and then I would have basically two sets of documents. One set was for the people that were going to the department where these candidates would be screened as well, because I'm the HR lady, so I only check the general administrative facts that the HR people are supposed to check. And there are certain standards, and each company has different standards, and these standards are changing over time, obviously, always. And there was nothing I could do about that. There were certain standards that I didn't like, and there was nothing I could do about it, unless leaving the company and saying, I don't comply with your standards, so I'm leaving. And at that time, I was still getting a lot of work experience, so I wanted to just simply consume all of the different experiences that I could get. And so basically, this one set of documents with the applicants that matched all of the standards that I was supposed to check, they landed in the hands of the work council. Yeah, so if the company is a little bit bigger and there are work councils involved, then it might be that the work council gets to take a look at these documents. And then obviously you want to pass on, or I wanted to pass on the documents to the departments where these people would be working, whether that was in IT or whether that was in communications or whether that was in production or anything like that. Yeah, so these would be the documents that would go to the according people who were supposed to screen the documents next. Then I would get those back that they didn't want to invite to the job interview. And then they have a selection of maybe 3, 4, 5 candidates, sometimes more, if we were organizing assessment centers, for example. Yeah, and but normally for one position, they would invite between 3 to 5 people, at least in the fields where I worked. And I would receive all of those back, like the documents of the people that they didn't want to invite. So they would land on the second set again, the second set of applications where I knew, okay, these people are definitely going to receive a rejection. But by the time I was just like people in HR, I don't know whether you have an idea how much workload there actually is, but there is a lot of things that people have to do. And it was way more important to basically keeping the spark in those candidates that we would invite for a job interview. Okay, so it was fine just to set the other applications aside for any time when I had time to send those letters, send out the rejection letters. And sometimes this could mean that I send out a rejection letter after half a year, after 1 year, or 1.5 years. That was the highest time. And then I thought, why am I sending this rejection letter now? Because this person probably already has a new job. They don't even want to hear about that. They have probably forgotten that they have applied for this position. And that's why I'm just telling you the story, because I want you to appreciate the fact that you receive an information on the status of your application. And always keep in mind, if the company is not getting back to you in time, like a reasonable time, not 1.5 years later, you should really think about that and consider whether you really want to work with that company or not, if that's how they are interested in communicating with candidates. Yeah, I mean, you've put a lot of effort into your documents. You've put a lot of effort into the preparation for this particular position, and then you're not hearing anything back apart from we've received your application. So this is something that you need to keep in mind. First of all, be thankful that you actually received a rejection. And then, so this is particularly for those who have just sent a written application. Then there could be a next phase. For example, you have a telephone interview, and then the telephone interview might go well or might not go well. And if it's not going well, you receive a rejection. This could happen via phone, or it could also happen via email again. Yeah, and this is particularly really helpful if you have a phone call, because then you can ask for feedback. Normally people will give you feedback. The same happens when you, for example, go to a job interview and you have managed to go through the job interview, and now you're waiting for that answer. Yeah, you've done all you could, and you've prepared for the job interview, and you were able to answer their questions. You were honest and open, and you also found out for yourself whether you still wanted to work with these people or not. And then you might receive a phone call or also receive an email that tells you that you didn't make it. Yeah, and this is when this grieving process starts. Yeah, so first of all, denial, then anger, then acceptance, and from then letting go and a new start. And this is what I want to talk to you about today. So there are certain formal aspects why you could have not, or why you could have received a rejection. First of all, maybe your cover letter was not right. So let's first of all just think about the written application. Okay, so written application, you received a rejection letter. Then, so your cover letter was not personal. It was not adjusted to that particular position that you've applied for. They couldn't really read your motivation. Yeah, there was no connection with that particular role that you've applied for. Maybe also it could be that you simply don't have the qualifications, or you don't have enough experience, yeah, or not enough skills in that particular field. However, if you are qualified for the position, and if you are, if you have enough experience from what they can see from your application, you might get invited to a job interview. Yeah, but if your qualifications and your skills don't meet the standards, don't meet the criteria, you will receive a rejection letter. Then it could also be that the picture that you send, if you're sending a picture, isn't professional at all, or you just look really, really angry on your picture. That could be possible as well. Yeah. So there's no point. In Germany, we still like receiving applications with pictures, but it's not obligatory anymore these days. Yeah. But when you are sending a picture, it should be professional. So we need to have a headshot that is so definitely my entire head, and then probably up until the shoulders. Yeah, so I still want to see the shoulders, and you want to smile. Yeah, just think about that. See, take a look at me. Do you want to invite someone to the job interview that looks like that? Or do you want to invite someone to the job interview that looks like that? Something like that. Okay, just a simple smile. You don't even always have to have a smile with teeth, because obviously you know that I love to smile. So my headshots normally look like that. Not really, but this is what I'm implying. I want to tell you that it's really, really important for you to have at least a little smile and look sympathetic on the picture, because otherwise they would think, is this a robot that we're talking to? Well, maybe we don't want to invite a robot. Yeah, so if you are sending a picture, make sure it's professional and that you are smiling a little bit. And also, some companies have, as I mentioned before, certain standards. Like if you are a career starter and you don't have a lot of work experience yet, obviously, what do they want to compare you to? So they take a look at your grades, at your university grades. And this is something that they, just really want to evaluate whether your grades are good enough or not. And this is possible that you don't have good grades, and that's why you're not invited to a job interview. That's why you get a rejection. That's possible as well. Or, and this is one of the biggest mistakes, you have mistakes in your written application. Yeah, either you're contradicting yourself in your cover letter and your CV, or you just simply have typos in there as well. This is something that is still possible, that why you don't get invited. And then there are certain companies that are using screening software to and the screening software is scanning your application. And for that, let me give you the hint, you want to use the keywords from the job ad and include these in your CV and in your cover letter. If you're using these keywords, the screening software will find them, and then the probability is higher that an actual human being will then read your application afterwards. So these are just some formal mistakes that might be the cause for your rejection. Then also, let's take a look at the next phase when you are in a job interview and what happens after that. And here, I mean, it could be a Zoom call, it could be a telephone call, interview, it could be a job interview in person. And here, what is really important, the company needs to find out about whether your skill set, your knowledge, and your experience matches the criteria that they have for that particular position. Then the second point is they want to see your individuality. So, and here it's really important that you are honest, okay? And they want to find out who you are as an individual. Who are you? What's your personality about? Yeah. And then last but not least, what they need to find out is your motivation. How motivated are you to actually succeed in that particular role that you've applied for? Are you aligned with their vision, with their mission, with their values of the company? And why are you applying for that job? Why do you want to wake up every day and go to that particular job and give it your all? I mean, in Germany, we normally have 40-hour work weeks, and this is what they want to find out. Why are you willing to spend 40 hours per week in that particular position? Okay. And here, obviously, if your motivation is not aligned with what they are looking for, you might receive a rejection. Also, I have mentioned in one of the former episodes, it's quite some time ago, that in the HR department, from my experience, there are, so when we are talking to one another, the HR people, okay, just there's, I think, okay, I'm back, back online. So we HR people, we're talking to one another when it comes to opening up a new position. And then we obviously have our own idea. We have these standards of the entire company that we need to check. Then the work council has some ideas of whom to who is suitable for that position, and then obviously the people from the particular department have an idea who they are looking for. And these three parties sometimes don't have the same opinion, and sometimes they are not aligned. And that is happening then that HR is doing all of the administrative stuff, and we are advertising the job there, and then work council or the department tells us, okay, but so this is great that this is out there, but we're actually looking for something a little bit more advanced, or we're looking for someone who has more skills in a different area. Well, we didn't tell you that beforehand. And then, but already this process of applications is already going on. So it's rolling, yeah. And that's when what can be a really, really tough decision that they then have to make after the job interview, because from the HR perspective, this person probably is really aligned to the position, but then the department or the work council says, no, actually, we want somebody else. This is not the right person for us. So let's take a look at some things that might be the reason why you receive a rejection after a job interview or a telephone interview or a Zoom call, for example. Maybe you're not well prepared. And this is key. This is what you can do in advance. Prepare. Yeah. So when I go to a job interview, or back in the day when I went to job interviews, I prepared several days in advance. I didn't do anything else. It was my job to prepare for the job interview. And I was soaking in all of this information about that company so that I was well prepared. And I knew, okay, this is what I could do. I did my best. And then everything else is fate or not. And then another reason could be that you are simply not the right fit for the company, value-wise, individually wise, or from your skill set. Yeah. Then it could also be that the company sees you're not really flexible, like working remotely, or you want to work part-time, but they need someone full-time, and so on. So this flexibility is a really, really big issue sometimes, especially if you're going for a job where you have to travel a lot. Yeah. Then another reason could be that they are just interviewing you as some sort of, how do you call that? It's, so there is a quota of certain positions that have to be advertised publicly. And then there's a quota of how many people have to be invited to a job interview. And this could be that they are just inviting you, even though they have already filled the position internally. And this is the hardest part. And normally people don't think about that, because obviously you always take rejections really personal, but you shouldn't. Because this could be a reason. They have already filled the position internally, but they're still interviewing you. They are still inviting you to a job interview just because there is this quota. You won't find out whether they have a quota or not. Yeah, you just find that out once you're working there, if you're working in HR, for example. Another reason could be you're overqualified. And here, let me tell you this. A very good friend of mine told me that if you fill all of the criteria that you find on a job ad, you're overqualified. Simple as that, okay? And if you're overqualified, some companies tell you, actually, we cannot pay you because you are overqualified, yeah? Then, obviously, a big hurdle, and this is something that my clients always really need to talk to me about, and that we are going through in detail, is your salary expectation and what you're telling them. Yeah, because if your salary expectations are too high, you won't even get invited to a job interview. If your salary expectations are too high in the you haven't communicated your salary expectations in the cover letter, for example, but you're now telling them during the job interview how much you want, it's possible that they say, oh, sorry, but this is way too high. We can't pay you. Sorry, bye. Yeah. Then maybe you haven't sold yourself right. Yeah. So it's possible that it just simply wasn't your day, and you weren't, maybe you had a little cold, or you just didn't have the energy for that particular job interview. I remember I had a day, back when I was still living in England, I actually flew to Hamburg, and so from London to Hamburg, went to a job interview in where did I actually go? I think I went to a job interview. I went to a job interview in Salzgitter. Then I took the train again back to Hamburg, went to a job interview there, and then I had to fly back to England. So this is something that is possible. Yeah, it's happening, and you are putting a lot of energy in there and out there, and then you're drained at some point, and maybe you're not at your best performance anymore, because you might have a job interview after your day job already. Yeah, so or even after your day job. So you've worked 8 hours because you didn't want to tell your employer, your current employer, that you are going to job interview. So you go after your shift at 4, at 5, at 6 p.m. or whatever, and then you still have to you still have to entertain these people during a job interview and show your best side. So this is possible. And then also, obviously, there are always people who need to get trained to do and conduct job interviews. Yeah, so I was trained to conduct job interviews when I was just a starter in my career. And so did I train other people that I worked with. I told them how to do job interviews. And how do you do that? Well, by testing people in job interviews. And this is something that is really, really not really helpful, but you can see it in that way, even though you won't find out whether you were just a test object for this particular person that was trained to do job interviews. It's still an exercise for you. And with every exercise, you get better. And this is something that you need to keep in mind, especially for your job applications and for your job interviews. Okay, whenever you get a rejection, this is not the end of the world. It's just another opportunity that you have challenged yourself to actually go through. There are new questions coming up with every job interview, and you get more relaxed over time. Okay. And let me tell you with that, just getting back to the test object person. So here I can tell you that a lot of these things are normally done via phone. So this is what I have experienced when I wanted to get a new job. I knew that there were people that were interviewing me that were just testing their skills basically, and that's what's normally happening through telephone interviews. And so normally when you get to actual job interview, you know the people that are interviewing you. Normally you get an email where they're telling you who's interviewing you, and there should be a person there that is not just there for training purposes. Yeah. So what do you actually do now with the rejections? Yeah. So basically, first of all, give yourself some time to relax and really process the situation, these feelings that you're having, that this is kind of like a physical pain. It hurts, and that is okay. Just accept that. Yeah. And you don't have to go for the next challenge right away the next day. You don't have to go for the next job application the next day. You can take a day off and just get some rest for your head and just get back on your feet, right? Then obviously go through your documents, go through everything that you've done during the job interview, for example, and try to find out whether there were any mistakes. What could you improve for the next time? And this is something that I've normally done regardless of the outcome of the job interview. Right away after the job interview, I took a notebook and I wrote down all of the different questions that they've asked me during the job interview, especially those questions that I didn't expect. Yeah, because then I remembered them the next time when I was preparing for the new job interview. Okay, so this is something that you can do right after the job interview. Write down what they've asked you and write down what kind of tasks they've had, and maybe what kind of feedback they have already given you during the job interview. Okay. Oh, and Stella is here. Hi, Stella. Thank you very much for joining in. Then another thing, obviously, you need to have some sort of inspiration. Yeah, go out there and find motivation. Who is out there that is doing the job that you want to be doing, and imitate what they're doing? What is their career path? Connect with people in this field. Connect with the people that are in your mindset. Connect with the people that are in the same career path like yourself. Okay, because this gives you inspiration. This gives you motivation. Then also try to reconsider the way you're applying. So start from, go back to the start. By that, I mean how you're searching for a job. Take a look at that. How you're applying for a job. Take a look at that. Can you improve any little detail? When you're, how you're communicating with the recruiters, for example. Can you improve any sort of step there? Can you connect with people through LinkedIn, for example, already? Anything like that. So go back to each of the steps of your application journey and find out whether you can improve any of the steps. Yeah. And then obviously you can always work with professionals, and you can always work with a coach who can help you with your job applications. So I'm here to help you guys if you are searching for a job in Germany. So feel free to contact me. And Guido is here as well. Hi, so many people joining in today. This is really exciting. So if you need professional help with your job applications here in Germany, feel free to contact me. Send me a DM or go on my website and book a free consultation with me. This is really easy through my website, lisajans.com. This is fine. But what is even more important than having a professional job coach, for example, is your mindset. Yeah. So you need to work on your mindset. And with that being said, find inspiration, find people that have the same mindset like yourself. Don't talk to people that are currently not understanding what you're going through. So for example, when I can tell you, like, for example, my dad, a couple of years ago, my dad lost his job after, I think he was nearly 30 years in his job. And that was really strange because he didn't know how to deal with the situation. So, and lucky him, I was already job coach at that time. So I was helping him. But his mindset was really out of control. And he got the support from our family, from my mom, from my brother, from me, and we helped him. But what happens if you're talking to your former colleagues and they're asking you, so what are you doing now? And you don't have anything to say because you don't have a new option lined ahead of you, right? So this is something lined up. That's the word that I was looking for. And this is something that really, yeah, makes you crumble inside. Yeah, it just tears down your walls, and this is where you need to find support. Just talk to the people that just want your best. Yeah, and if you don't have these people, search for new people. There are so many people out there, and we have the internet, so you can find people that are in the same growth mindset. Yeah, so I have a really, really nice group that I'm working with right now, and they're supporting one another because they're going through the same situation. And this is something that I highly recommend. Find an accountability partner. Yeah. So an accountability partner could be me. An accountability partner could be somebody else that is applying for a job here in Germany as well. This is something. And then obviously you want to ask for feedback for your rejection. And if you only receive an email, you could also ask for feedback through the email. But if you're receiving the rejection via phone, this is the best opportunity for you to get the feedback. Yeah. And then also afterwards, stay in contact with these people, connect with them on LinkedIn, with all of the people. You can do that already after your job interview. You can already go on LinkedIn and connect with the people that you have spoken with. Okay. And this is something, stay connected. Still follow their Instagram channels, or still follow their company website on LinkedIn, for example. Or Xing, also called crossing, because this shows your commitment. It's not just you're now hurt because they have rejected you. No, you still want to stay in touch. Just because it didn't work out now doesn't really mean that it never works out. I remember one of my first jobs, one of my former bosses told me, well, if it's not working out in our company, come back later in 5 years. And I said, no, I want to have that job now. And this is something that really, really, it made me cry out loud inside, because I thought, no, why would I have to wait 5 years? But actually, I used this opportunity to get a lot more experience, and then I found out I actually don't want to work with them anymore. So this is something that you can conclude afterwards as well. So, and this is basically everything that I wanted to talk to you about today. Thank you very much for everybody that's showed up here today. It's great to be back after my holidays. It's great that so many people participated here, and I see you again next week. And if you want to talk to me and need my help, just simply sign up for a free consultation with me through my website, lisajans.com. Thank you and bye-bye.